Hello to all of you beautiful nerds, and welcome back from traveling the vast nerd universe. I am glad to be back from RangerStop Orlando 2023. If I'm clearing my throat throughout this video, I might be coming down with something. I did order some cough medicine on Shipt this morning, so hoping it'll help me out. I don't want to go through anything during Thanksgiving. That would suck. That's another thing too. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. So yeah, it's not Christmas yet, so we still have one more holiday before that. So anyways, my first video in the RangerStop series is basically showing off what makeup that I took with me to RangerStop 2023. I only wore makeup during Friday and Saturday. Sunday, didn't wear anything because I showered first thing because I didn't get to do that after the VIP dinner. I know, gross, but at least I shower during conventions. Be glad about that. Because back in the past, hardly anybody did that. It was gross. But anyways, so I am showing you what I wore during Friday and Saturday of the convention, and also talking about certain things as well. Of course, my disclaimer is all these items were purchased by my own money. I am not sponsored by any of these brands. These brands do not know who I am on the internet. So I am not partnered with any of these people. So letting you know, I am good. And these include products I've been using for a long while. Well, I have a few new ones to talk about that I did try out during the weekend a little bit. So let's get started, shall we? So let me grab my headband. So I am using the brushes that I have at home. I'm not using the ones that I traveled with. So, yep. So how is everybody doing this weekend? Here it is. This is my travel makeup bag. It's huge, and as you can hear, a lot of stuff is in here. I did pull some of the stuff out so it would be easier to reach, which are my eyeshadows, because I went with an eyeshadow single stack this time around instead of just relying on an eyeshadow stick. So, sorry. Of course, I would be starting with my tried and true brow products. Recently on nerdychicuniverse.com, I did a post that was inspired by most of the people on TikTok as of late. And I also noticed during the time when I'm watching videos on YouTube over on my personal Gmail, that a lot of people that I've seen said they're obsessed with one particular product, and it doesn't get shown on the internet on their channel again. It's kind of sad. If they're saying they're completely obsessed with a certain product, why aren't you showing it anymore? But you know, here at Nerdy Chic Universe, I do love a lot of products, certain products, and do show them off. And of course, one of those products is, of course, my favorite Tame and Frame eyebrow pomade from NYX Cosmetics. I finished up the one that I was hitting pan on when I was doing my makeup the Thursday we were leaving for the weekend. So I completely hit pan on that. And I was glad that I was using a freshly opened new one for the weekend. And of course, it's going back into my daily makeup routine caboodle. So, yep, and it's going back in. Making sure I screwed it on tight because I don't want it to dry up. Because I do love this, love that. And now I'm going in with my favorite Control Freak brow gel. Because I do love this stuff. I did mention in the post I used to enjoy the e.l.f. Lash and brow duo, but the problem is I ended up being allergic to the lash part. Somehow I became allergic to e.l.f.'s mascaras because I noticed how my eyes watered like crazy, and I had the feeling it was the e.l.f. lash products. So yeah, I can't use them. Boo. Boo. So, yep. For anybody who's wondering what is that little tag that's hanging off of the Control Freak, that's my way around tag, which helps me label my products as a visually impaired person. So, yeah. So next up is eyes. So, of course, I took one of my MAC Prolonged paint pots. Making sure it's still recording. Yep. It's, so the interesting thing, at first I was gonna go with my Soft Ochre. I believe it was, no wait, I think it was Laying Low, which was one of the other shades I usually use as eyeshadow primer if I want them to pop more. But I decided to switch it up because I ended up finding the one in Taylor Gray, which is kind of like this light grayish taupey color because it would match the eyeshadows I would be wearing from Urban Decay. Because I figured, why not go all dark and mysterious and neutral. I mean, on the Thursday, I wore the one in Groundwork with my Urban Decay 24/7 Shadow Stick in Echoed, which is also a taupey shade. The Groundwork one is like a darker taupe. This one is more of a grayish taupe, from what I remembered with the color descriptions on Ulta. So I'm gonna spread this on my lid. I wore the eyeshadow on Friday because Saturday we woke up early and went to Flapjack Johnny's for breakfast. It was so good. I'll be talking about it on nerdychicuniverse.com about all the places that we did go to eat during the weekend. Because, you know, Orlando has a lot of places around to eat. And they opened a lot of places when we moved out of Orlando and moved out here to the coast. Don't get me wrong, they also opened a few new places here as well. But of course, we did find some old favorites as well, which made us happy that we're still around, because it made sense, because of course International Drive is a high traffic area even outside of a convention weekend, because of course we have the Point Orlando, excuse me, Universal, SeaWorld, Disney, all those different places that you could go and have some food after being at a theme park all day, or a water park, because of course there's Aquatica and Volcano Bay. And of course you still had Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. Did they close? No, wait. When Wet n Wild used to be open, yes, we had a water park called Wet n Wild. They did not close it during December. Only closed it if it gets really cold. Yeah, RJ got passes for his birthday, and we went when we went to see Cheap Trick. So we were like, why not go Wet n Wild during the day and then go to the concert at night. Yeah, the reason why I'm like adding more of this paint pot is because I did have this for over a year hiding in my main, and like all my makeup stuff that I had to move last year. As you guys remembered my story with what happened with Hurricane Nicole, if you want to hear the entire story, that's still up here on the channel. Yeah, we told some of the actors what had happened. Even a guy dressed as Santa Claus. And we told him reason for making up for last year was, well, reason for getting VIP this year was making up for last year with what took place with the hurricane. And ironic thing, it was as we were leaving to get to the hotel, but we couldn't. Oh, hey, my Cosmic Sky ended up in this drawer. For those of you who don't know, I love collecting perfumes, and Sui Cosmic Sky is ones I did purchase. Huh, weird. One of my floral street perfumes is also in this drawer. Huh. Can't find my little box for the paint pot. So next up are the eyeshadows. The shadows I took with me are from Urban Decay. They're the 24/7 eyeshadows. These are pretty much classics when it comes to single eyeshadows amongst the different eyeshadow palettes that you could get from them. And if you can't get a naked palette, this is one way of getting your hands on one of the shadows. Like, you know, some of these shadow names are kind of weird when you start hearing them. It's the brand that names all these shadows. It's not me, it's the brand. So first up for my definer, I used Mushroom, which is this dark taupey shade color with with a metallic edge to it. I did wear, like I said, I did wear this on Friday because I like the idea of having eyeshadows during the convention without having them budge all over the place, all over my face as well. I did have, well, back in Atlanta, I did use did I use it? Yeah, I think I used an eyeshadow stick, and somehow what I was using to keep them down, like on my lids, it vanished like in the inner corner. And I'm like, how did that happen? So that's why I decided, why not bring the prolonged paint pot instead. And of course I do dip more than once into these shadows so they could pack on and stay on. As well. And these shadows did stay pretty well because we did have to have a long trek from our hotel in the building. We were supposed to get a king-size bed, but somehow maybe the king-size beds were all taken up early in the day. We took the scenic route from Daytona to the hotel on International, which was the DoubleTree by SeaWorld. And a lot of the hotels in Orlando are set up a lot more differently than most states or cities. Because when we stayed for MetroCon back in 2013 and 2014, all the rooms were in one big building. We stayed in the courtyard down the road from the convention center, one big building. The Residence Inn was one big building right near the Tampa Bay airport. A lot of the hotels in Orlando are spread out. They have hotel rooms spread outward. Even my buddy who came down from the Northeast, he has a guide dog. He said he could get lost pretty easily, even though we didn't get to meet one-on-one because we were like all over the place as press, to tell you the truth. But I did hear him in the room, in the panel room. But our building was building 4, and it was like far off. And when we got to the main building, I was trying to catch my breath. I even could not talk on the walk there because of how much breath I was losing. I was like gasping. Even someone made a comment on my my backpack, which had all my Pokemon pins, and I could not say much because we were walking, and I caught my breath in the press room area, which was good. And when we told the new coordinator, He was completely nice and let me sit around there. He was placed in building 6. And I'm like, what? So he was 2 buildings down from us. And I'm like, whoa. So he was further, even further. Even the guy who was press coordinator before her was in building 5 last year, apparently. And I'm like, why did they have to put everybody so far apart? It would have been easier if they put us in the tower closer to the convention, mind you. Okay, I believe this is tease, which is for my crease. Up in the crease. No, wait. I think this is virgin. Yes, like I said, weird names. I think this is it. Sorry, I had to open up my eye. So yeah, this is definitely tease. So yeah, my eyeshadow did stay on for the day. Even though I was sweating by the time I was cooling off. Even my claustrophobia was kind of showing a little bit during the weekend. So yeah, RJ was kind of making sure that I had enough air to keep myself going. Even though I was hoping to make some of the panels during Friday, but we kind of were focused on the vendor's room because a lot of stuff was in there. A lot. Like, a lot of the guests that we got to see back in Atlanta were also there, too. Like Johnny Young Bosch, Paul Schreier, and Jason Narby, since we saw them when we were in Atlanta back in 2021. Well, actually, Paul Schreier bumped into us during RangerStop and Pop. Also, I was happy to meet Steve Andrino, who wore the Babu suit. For those of you who probably haven't seen much of Power Rangers, as probably by season 2-ish of Mighty Morphin. That's when he mentioned in the panel Day of the Dumpster 30 years later, because we went to that one. We do have some footage from that. He mentioned how he was an extra in the Mari, speak today. Detention hall with Bulk and Skull. And he was asked, what's your height, what's your shoe size? And that's how he got fitted for the Babu suit. And he is a really nice guy, because the funny thing was, when I kind of got him I kind of sort of hinted to RangerStop that I think this is virgin. Don't quote me, even though the shadows are going to be blended out. Unfortunately, I can't use way around right now. Shadows are going to be blended anyways. I may accidentally did a halo eye. But he's a really nice guy. The thing was, he mentioned on Facebook, because we became friends on Facebook this past year, and he mentioned a memory he had, I believe with Jason Harvey or someone else, where they were at a different convention back in the early 2000s, and I'm like, RangerStop, you should come down to RangerStop Orlando. We need more villains, which was true, because the only real villain that was announced, I believe, by that time was Barbara Goodson, which we ran into first, because RJ had Disgaea for her to sign, since she voiced Laharl throughout the entire game series, because Laharl does make a lot of cameos throughout the game series. I wish we got Sandy Fox to sign it when she was in Orlando so many moons ago, because I got my copy of Dot Hack Infections signed by her. So now, eyeliner. I used a taupe eyeliner, and I believe it's from Ulta's gel eyeliner line. So I took a screenshot here because he commented, he said, I would so love to go down there as a guest. So I took a screenshot, shared it on the RangerStop group, and even someone said it, that is so true, we need more villains to show up. I mean, we even had Heckle and Snide, and I was excited about that because I didn't mention it to Campbell Cooley and the dude that played Heckle, that they are one of my favorite villains, because it took on the Jekyll and Hyde aspect, and as you know, me as a book nerd, Jekyll and Hyde is a very classic character, mind you. Heck, I even liked what they did with them in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Thank you very much. But anyways, and apparently he was announced as a guest a little bit later on. I mean, hey, I even helped get Johnny on Bosch finally invited to AFO back in 2011, because they had Dan Southworth and Ruben Langdon, and they were missing Nero. And I pointed that out, and they next day announced. That's how I first met Johnny. Still makes me happy about that. I cosplayed as Henri from Durarara. I can't pronounce that anime. So, yeah. But Steve Andrino was very nice. I even mentioned him in the review, and he said thanks for the shout out. I even gave him one of the bookmarks because I was trying to promote Rose Thorns of Love as well, because it wasn't getting much love. You could get on Audible, Amazon, Audible, Amazon, and iTunes. People, please support my book. So I had bookmarks made. I could not find the business cards for Love Found in Cinders, which is the original. I ran into Michael Argado, who played young Tommy. Rest in peace, Jason David Frank. Still, to this day, still a sad thing. But anyways, I gave him one of the bookmarks, and he was like, does this have to do with Christ? I'm like, no. I explained nicely It has to do, the series is basically a modern twist on classic fairy tales. Yes, I know, rose thorns, roses. I think I told him it's a take on Beauty and the Beast. Think about it, the rose that wilts and that. So I kind of gave an interesting twist by making it a tattoo in that. Because I thought it would be interesting to kind of do that instead. But anyways, so I used the Milani eyelash primer, and all I'm just saying, it's still liquidy. Because when I'm using the CoverGirl one, I notice how it dries up quickly over time in the tube. And not Milani, I meant Essence. But Essence, I know it from the Lash Princess mascara, which I still have tubes of. All I have to say, this is a pretty good product so far from what I tried. I'm not sure if some of you who may have noticed that some of the influencers also kind of did a bit with Essence, where they talked about how some of the face products were good, and they didn't do the hashtag sponsored bit. Now on top, I'm gonna put this MAC mascara. That was another thing too. MAC had a major popularity when I first got into makeup, and all the YouTube personalities that I watched got me. Ow, son of a, ow! Yeah, I poked myself. For all of you who may not have seen that, can't see it. One thing about mascara ones you have to be careful is poking yourself in the eye. And I mentioned that I like the MAC mineralized blushes because they mentioned Warm Soul. And I had that blush, and I ended up repurchasing it because it got wet during the flood, and I didn't want to, even though it was in the caboodle that it was in, but I didn't want to test and see if it's still good. I'd rather not, you know, because the flood water that we faced smelled terrible. Ugh. And for the mascara that I'm putting on top of this is from Tarte, and it's their Big Ego. I had to repurchase this mascara because I noticed it dried up, because I remember getting this in an Itsy Glam Bag Plus. I no longer get Itsy because I noticed with the Glam Bag X, which was their quarterly tier, but now they're called the Icon bag because they bought BoxyCharm. But as I was saying, I noticed that some products were missing last year when I got not only the May box, I had to get the nude sticks during 21 Days of Beauty finally in my hands, which is an okay blush stick. And I also noticed, which got me to say screw Ipsy, well, mostly the Glam Bag X for the most part, was due to half of my bag was missing during August, my birth month. So for the face primer, I am using the e.l.f. moisturizing primer. This one, I like this better than the Power Grip because my makeup went on a lot better on top of this. I need to give it more tries. I did before we left for the convention because we purchased some eyeliner pencils, and I did repurchase the Marshmallow primer from NYX on their website. I was not kidding when I said I was cutting myself off from the Ulta app for a bit. So I'm gonna put this on. Gonna put it underneath my eyes, my lower lash. And not only that, like I was saying with the vendors room, there were a lot more vendors than back in the past because they got a lot of people to show up, even though we only bought a few things amongst the vendors because of course most of our money went to autographs. Like I said with the Barbara Goodson, that was our first person. Then we went to Johnny because I was looking for back in Atlanta. I ended up seeing an Artemis card, but we spent most of our cash by that point. And so I was hoping he had more Sailor Moon cat things, and guess what? Not only he had the card from years ago, I think it was the same card because it had Artemis's face and a few bits of like moments of him, but he also had one of him, Luna, and Diana, as in the entire kitty family, Moon Cat family. Next, I'm putting on the e.l.f. concealer. People did like this concealer, so I wanted to try it out for myself. I did get in light to medium neutral shade because that's my skin tone. So I got that signed by him, and he was like, so someone loves Sailor Moon? I'm like, yes, I've been a fan of it since I was a teenager, which was true. I loved Sailor Moon since the Geek dub, but now that Viz redubbed it, I was happy that he ended up being a kitty. Sorry, I love cats. I can't help it. Blendy, blendy, blendy. I had to keep on using that e.l.f. one because it's not too bad of a product. People always obsess over Tarte Shape Tape, but I heard how thick that one is. So yeah, I think the moment that caught me off guard was because on Saturday, after the day of the dumpster panel, RJ had to go back to the room to recharge our video camera because somehow didn't charge all the way. So he left me alone. I'm like, oh crap. And I found out more about the convention queue that way because I had to get on a virtual queue for Jason Narby, even though they also blended Paul as well because they were right next to each other. And it was a lot easier because where they were at, there was a lot of high foot traffic too. So they were trying to minimize blocking, like traffic jams basically, in a way, to put it nicely. So I had to wait from like 1 o'clock up to 3:30, I think. What they do is they text you. It's kind of like Disney Genie in a bit, but I wish they did explain that a bit, because even though I saw posts talking about the convention queue not working, I did mention the technology side of the convention needed to improve, because they even had an app, which they only had it for iOS users during the convention. And I noticed it was not showing anything at all, but it did show everything after the convention. Of course, as you saw, I was putting on the photo focus Dewey and Buck Bisque. So I did mention that they should have also made one for Android users, because not everybody uses iOS, and apparently the guys who made the app posted a few days later that they are going to be working on an Android version, which, okay, at least I'm not sure if they read my post because I did link to it. And like I said, the only thing really needed to be improved was the app, of course, convention queue, and the accessibility on the website, because even though I was grateful for somebody who helped out with updating me on guests, but they did not put headings on the guest page, which I did mention that to the Atlanta side, but they improved that part. Orlando's website did not have it, which kind of saddened me a bit. I did kind of mention in my review that there should be an accessibility coordinator handling that, because a lot of people with and I even said to the guys who created the app, there's a lot of people, not a lot, well, there were kind of a lot, but there are people with disabilities that go to this convention, because it's very inclusive to a lot of us with disabilities. Even when I had sighted guide during Atlanta, which was besides Omni Fandom Expo, when they kind of helped me out in finding and they even gave me some sighted guide, but apparently, of course, you gotta think about the technology side, and you have to make your website accessible to a lot of people with disabilities who are going to your website. And would be nice to get some of the people who do the coding to make the website up to standards, and also make it more accessible to make sure they get the coding for accessibility up and running too. Because some of us use speak today, Mari. Some of us use screen readers, some of us use magnifiers, which magnification software that needs to be where the contrast needs to be able to be seen. Limit the animation because, of course, people with seizures, sorry. So, yeah. Actually, I'll just powder my under eyes because I kind of went back to an old technique where I used to put all my face items on first and then top it off with the powder to help with the blend. But of course, like I said, the reason why I kind of mentioned the convention queue because I kept on noticing, I think I missed a few posts about the new virtual line. Oops, there went my elf powder because that also came with me, or it was packed since last year. Never been touched. Okay, I haven't found the blush brush. But as I was saying, I'm hoping they listen if they're gonna do Orlando again in 2025, because there's not gonna be RangerStop Orlando in 2024, but there will be Atlanta. So with the Shayla B, I only wore this Friday and wore the Tarte one that I had on me as well on Saturday. I'm going to use the bottom left shade for this look because I would have used it more during the weekend with a different shade. But for Saturday, I only wore eyeliner and my usual face stuff because, like I said, we went out for breakfast across the street. I definitely need a soup from Panera. But again, like I said, is hoping they improve on their accessibility by 2025's convention on the Orlando website. But I did notice they did improve it for this past year's RangerStop and Pop in Atlanta. But hoping they do improve upon it. Like I said, they should at least have somebody working on accessibility to make it easier. And of course, I did have a talk with the guys that did do the app about how to make their app better. And I think the reason why I didn't get anything to show up, I think it was because of the amount of people in the convention hall using the app to access the schedule, because I had to access the schedule through the website, which was good that they had an option to go to the website. For the highlighter that I brought with me is from About Face, and it's this purpley hued highlighter. It's being a little bit colorful because there are some purple Power Rangers. But as I was saying, I think due to the connection, it did not work out for me, even though I have 5G data on my phone, because we switched to Mint not too long ago, and it has been working for us so far. But the problem is, in some places, due to high traffic, sometimes connectivity is not that great. And also, I remember that happening during Holiday Matsuri once, where they were doing the same idea with an app, and it was not working right because of all the people using the Wi-Fi, which included vendors and vendors, people hosting a panel, possibly. So many people were using the Wi-Fi. Even regular hotel guests who were not there for the convention, who were there but not for the convention, probably having a vacation before. As you know, around that time, a lot of snowbirds come down to the beautiful Orlando resorts, especially the World Center Marriott. We did get asked by a friend if we were going to Holiday Matsuri. Unfortunately, we're not, because of my graduation the week and before. He did congratulate me, though, on working on getting my master's. Yeah, like I said, we can't make it to Holiday Matsuri since it's gonna be in the middle of a week this year, and the week before we're gonna be in Virginia celebrating my accomplishment, which of course I gotta start packing, unpack and repack for a flight now. Because at first we were gonna do doing a road trip first. I mean, at first do it as a road trip, but of course, we did have the concern about traveling, and of course, the expense of gas and all that, blah blah blah, and the tires being renewed. RJ's mom brought up flights, and I was able, with the help of coworkers, to book a flight on, on American Airlines through, sorry, I'm trying to find my powder, but I'll just use my NYX HD finishing. Since I can't find the e.l.f. one, it fell somewhere. But as I was saying, so now it's going to be a flight instead of a road trip. And I kind of, you know, did it without thinking. Both flights to and from Virginia are going to be morning ones, because we had to land in Washington, D.C. And during the day, knowing traffic is going to be terrible. So that's why I try not to make it as if we have to be stuck in traffic, and the only afternoon flights will get us there past our check-in time. So I'd rather not risk it and lose our original reservation. The interesting story about my reservation, I thought I was graduating on the 15th, and I had to switch the dates because I'm graduating on the 14th. And they didn't switch my dates when they were supposed to on Priceline, so I canceled it and rebooked it using the Marriott app, because I could just get the points from my stay. I don't know what happened. If I had the... Great. If I had my MAC setting spray, which that was the one that I took with me. Okay, I guess I have to switch over to one of my favorite setting sprays I have here in my day-to-day caboodle. So we'll be sleeping on our flight to Charlotte, which is our first stop, and then on the way to DC, since we'll be landing there after the Charlotte stop. And I was lucky to go with American Airlines because it was cheaper apparently on Google flights. Because Delta was going to charge us like nose for the nose for our tickets. Even it said the cheapest was like gonna land in at 5:30. I'm like, ah. So for the lips during the weekend, I was sticking with the lip oil. I know I took my Urban Decay Glossy liquid lipstick, but this lip oil made me obsessed with the new Milani Fruit Fetish lip oils. I even bought a few more before the convention, at least, because I did like the Blackberry Agave. I used the Cherry Lime one during the weekend, and this was my go-to during the weekend. It kept my lips moist, like, you know, not dry during the weekend. Even when I drank water, it stayed on. And I'm like, okay, I need to start using these more for conventions and other events because these are good. I even been using the e.l.f. ones, the new Clean Fresh yummy lip glosses from CoverGirl, and man, I love those things. And I became obsessed, and now I have to keep myself from not buying more of these until I kind of use. I did buy an extra of the Cherry Lime one from the CVS app because they're like, use your $5 reward before it expires. So yeah, bought another Cherry Lime. So that was basically what I used and brought with me to RangerStop 2023 for my graduation. I'm just gonna wear eyeliner and possibly mascara because I know we're gonna be heading to the first part of graduation where the doctorates get represented and get their degrees, and of course they'll be calling out each program as well, and we have to stand up for that. During the weekend of RangerStop, my cap and gown did arrive, which made me happy. Trust me, when I got it in hand and opened up and everything, I was like, I can't believe this is happening, because I worked so hard on everything. So with 2024 though, I have to kind of bring this up since I brought it up in the review itself. We are going to be focusing more on ourselves for 2024, so we're going to take a break from conventions. I kind of felt a little burnt out when we were at RangerStop, because of course I was going through school as well. I was also wearing my class ring, of course, and I was feeling a little burnt out. So we're going to take a break, focus on ourselves. I'm going to be focusing on getting certified by RangerStop, which is the Rehab Engineering and Assistive Technology Society of North America. So I'll be focusing on that. We're planning on finally getting married next year, sometime next year, because of course we rather focus on ourselves with that too. And also another thing too, we're trying to get back into cosplay again, because RJ kind of misses it since after 2018's Holiday Matsuri. I thought people were not taking us too seriously as a blog, because of course we did the cosplaying and everything. But of course a lot of these people that do some of the press and other things, they still cosplay no matter what they do, and I kind of agreed with that. So we're going to be focusing also on doing our costumes. He's going to be doing Kamen Rider V3, because that's how we got more into Kamen Rider stuff, was what we picked up kind of some DVDs during MegaCon of V3. Well, me, I'm going to be doing one of the Wild Wild Pussycats from My Hero Academia, which they're pretty much their Sentai team, and I do love cats. Of course, everybody knows that. I do love kitties, and when I saw them on My Hero Academia, I was like, oh, they have kitty theme. So I'll be looking for new cat gloves for one thing, because they do have cat gloves. I'm not sure which one I should do. I know Ragdoll, the one who Tia Ballard plays, is pretty short, but I'm not sure if I want to do blue or green. I gotta think about it. So who knows what we're gonna do. Like I said, we're gonna take a bit of a break during 2024 with the convention bits. I know I wanted to try to head back to Atlanta or MetroCon, but I kind of felt, like I said, a little burnt out. I'm like, with everything that's going on, and I don't want to be burnt out. I may still do a lot of different makeup videos. We are going to be putting up our footage from RangerStop this year for you guys to enjoy. Sorry if we didn't get to go to a lot of panels this year. Like I said, a lot of things happened more in the vendor's room, which made it awesome. Trust me, I was happy to meet the Dino Charge cast. Anybody else? Oh, Blake Foster did end up walking up to me, because he knows that I was visually impaired, and it's like, hi! I'm like, because I was trying to find whoever's which, and I even brought out my phone with Seeing AI to tell me all the different things on the table. Like, you know, they had a description on the table, so that kind of helped. Unfortunately, I accidentally let the Orcam in the room, and I forgot that I had the Stellar Trek in my backpack. Because it has a camera. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I don't think things through, but I was glad that I had my phone on me anyways. But anyways, that is it for this video. I know I would go on and talking forever about how awesome RangerStop was, and the chaos that ensued with looking for things, looking for actors. Heck, I even ended up with an awesome purse afterwards. My Stitch as a pineapple purse. When I saw that thing, I was like, mine! It's mine! And I was glad that I bought it Saturday, because the one on display was sold out, and I got the one that they had behind the display. So I was glad I bought it when I did. I also got a new wallet for it. So Can't wait to start using that because I'll be using my Elf Stitch backpack, which is supposed to arrive tomorrow. So until next time, everybody, stay beautiful while traveling the vast nerd universe and have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And make sure you stuff yourselves crazy. Until next time. Come on.